Now, this 40-year-old woman from Houston, Yazmin Eleby, chose to marry herself. People are saying their opinions about it and all this and that. Well, keep in mind that she's not the first one who's ever done this.
Owning that I'm responsible for my happiness. There would have been a time I would have placed that on others to change myself to make them happy, or expecting them to change to make me happy. And I realized that really wasn't working. Not at all. I was very unhappy, and I started discovering that love I need, it's in here. No one else can give it to me.
So, but, okay, I get that, but why have like a ceremony and bring in people to marry yourself in front of other people? What was the thinking there?
It was about really committing to changing my life. It's been a wonderful journey so far. I don't ever want to stop that. I feel very empowered, very happy, very joyous. I wanted to share that with people, and also the people that were in attendance. It's a form of accountability.
Were you trying to get attention?
Absolutely not. I'm responsible for my own happiness. I did this to celebrate the progress I've made in my life. 6 years ago, I would have handled a problem by going out and drinking. I smoked, I was 50 pounds overweight. This is just celebrating how far I've come in my life.
Anyway.
Love yourself. And speaking of self-love, our topic for today is extremely interesting because it's about a woman who loves herself so much, she decided to marry herself at the beginning of this year. Her name is Yazmin Eleby. She's a 40-year-old woman from Texas, and she had a huge, lavish wedding ceremony for herself to marry herself because she's 40 years old and she hasn't found her ideal mate yet. Boys, what do you think about that? 10 bridesmaids, 3 ministers, tons of guests, food, the whole shebang, all for herself.
Well, that reminds me of what is now probably the second weirdest marriage story I've ever heard, since it's now the title has now been taken by this one. I remember a long time ago there was a hairstylist who made a joke in the salon. It's kind of a risque joke, but she said, you know what? She said, I think I'm just gonna marry my vibrator. She said one day y'all gonna get a picture of my vibrator wearing a tux, and she said and up until 3 minutes ago, that was the weirdest and the funniest marriage story I've ever heard. This is now number one. We have a new champion.
You know what? I think the vibrator is still number one. I will say Eleby's story is the most expensive story that I've heard. You know, a lot of people are praising her, saying, you know, it's so important that people devote love and affection to themselves. I think it's great to have a party, but a wedding is a rite of passage between two individuals. So the fact that you're saying that, you know, I'm 40 and I haven't had a wedding yet, to me is very different than saying I'm 40 and I haven't met the person who I love and want to marry. Apples and oranges. So you have a party, but this just feeds into the whole fantasy that every woman has to have her princess-like wedding in order to have her happily ever after. And it's really not about that. After this big party, which is what it wasn't a wedding, you are still going to have the need to find a companion or a desire to find a companion. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I just think it's very important for us not to confuse the financial aspect and the big celebratory aspect with the nuts and bolts of a marriage, which is working together with someone to have your happily ever after.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, if you think about our society, which is increasingly hell-bent toward instant gratification, you see more and more people who are incredibly fascinated with starting things, but not all that excited about finishing things. So you see a lot of men, for example, who they know how to make a baby all day long. They love the act of making a child, but when it comes to the act of actually raising a child to the age of 18, they don't want to do that. And then you see on the female side, you see women that they love the act of getting married. They fantasize about the ceremony and the beautiful wedding day and all that stuff. But when it comes to the nuts and bolts of actually making a marriage work with another human being, not just with yourself, you don't really see people as devoted to that part of the task as they are to the whole big bang of coming together, getting married. And I think it shows itself in the divorce rates. And you actually have some people that do become these sort of serial ceremonialists, if you will, that you know, they get married over and over and over and over and over again because they're so fascinated with the process, but not at all fascinated with the hard work that comes afterwards.
The act of being. being, the act of being married. So I hate to, and I will not vilify someone for being single, because you can be single for so many different reasons. It can be that you actually just haven't met the person who's willing to do the work to move to the next level in terms of commitment and relationship building. But I would have said that this money might have been better invested in hiring a couple of matchmakers, right? Let me throw it out there, to help connect with some more people instead of just having this party to celebrate you. A wedding by yourself is nothing more than a birthday party, right?
Right.
If you're really looking to have a union, it's about doing some of the legwork to make yourself a better partner, or possibly get you closer to meeting those people. So I say, if you're single, if there's some issues you think you might need to work through, invest in some therapy. Again, it may not be your fault, but we are all culpable in some ways, and we all have habits that we can work on. And the second thing I would say is try matchmakers. I did a great story about matchmakers in Ebony in the October issue, and it was really, really fun to meet different types of people that I normally would not have met. What do you think, boys?
I think that there's obviously a psychiatric issue going on here with this woman, and I can't do the armchair analysis. But, here's the thing. I think it's one thing for you to say, I love myself. And I think that most people can respect that, right? And you say, look, I tried the relationship thing. It isn't quite working the way I wanted it to. But I love myself, and I'm here for myself. And I think people understand that. But when you engage in an actual extravagant ceremony that you ask other people to participate in, that you spend lots of money on, number one, it does say that you are, as you mentioned, you're caught up in the ceremony of it all, more so than the actual work it takes to get along with another person, not just yourself. But then, two, it kind of says that it might reek of narcissism. Right? You think about that. I am so in love with myself that I'm going to hold this extravagant, expensive ceremony that you're all going to be invited to, where I openly and repeatedly declare my everlasting love for me. Me. And to me, if that's the case, then matchmaking ain't gonna make it right. We can match you up with 1,000 people, but you're not going to get along with anybody because you love yourself so much that you don't have the capacity to love another human being.
So I won't say that she's necessarily a narcissist. Like you said, we don't know her enough.
The decision that she made, she felt like she wanted to be married at 40, and she took it upon herself to do that. That's her thing. She chose to do it. That's her deal. Wow. I could care less. To be honest, I could care less. But there's some things that I would like to question. Like, is it something like where it pretty much seems that it's obvious that she's not checking for a brother? Meaning, when I say she's not checking for a brother, for those who don't understand, she's not looking for a black man. You know what I'm saying? Because she could have had that already. Also, I think she has higher expectations for anybody in general, even if it's a guy or a girl. I think that she just has extreme high expectations for herself that, and for others, that she wants people to be either on her level or above that as far as income bracket, everything, because she's highly educated, she's very self-sufficient. You all know that. I already did my research on her. But like the song playing in the background, that's the first thing that popped in my mind with the ain't nothing going on but the rent. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a J-O-B if you wanna be with me. Just like that sister singing in the background. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing that came to my mind. But, this is something that's kind of like, in my mind, I'm not going to hate on it, but it does seem wacky. Like, quote unquote, it would be in the wacky genre of things. You know what I'm saying? It kind of like takes me back to, I remember in junior high school when they had the spin-off of the Cabbage Patch Kids, and then they came with the Garbage Pail Kids with the little stickers. That's what it reminds me of, something wacky and crazy like that. But hey, it's her world, you know what I'm saying? let her live it up. You know what I'm saying? That's what she chose to do. And everybody have their own opinions about it. Like I said, I could care less. I really didn't even want to do this video. I'm not going to say anything derogatory or bash this woman because I don't know her, for one thing. And second of all, you know, this is what she chose to do. That's what she chose to do. People do all kind of crazy shit. You know what I mean? But it is kind of strange and odd and weird. You know how motherfuckers always say that shit about somebody that's, you know, unique or different? They want to say that weird shit all the time. That's weird. That's weird. He weird. She's weird. You know, they want to throw that shit. But no, on this level or this type of shit right here, this is weird to me. You know what I mean? I mean, you want all your family members and friends to remember this shit when you could have easily had a significant other? This is how you want to go out in life? Well, that's your choice. Alright then, tubers, feel free to shout, and I'll catch you guys on another one. Nah-ahh.